Hi, welcome all. So, we're going to start a new lesson after your Christmas vacations. I hope all of you enjoyed your Christmas vacations. Today, we are going to start Unit 11, The Little Mechanic. When Isaac Newton was born on Christmas Day in 1642 in the small town of Woolsthorpe in England, little did his mother know what he would grow to achieve. Little did she know that he was destined to explain many matters which had been a mystery since the beginning of time. So, the little mechanic is talking about a great scientist called as Sir Isaac Newton. All of you that know that Newton was a great scientist. Yeah, he discovered many new things which until then was just a fiction. Nobody knew as to what exactly or how it had happened. Isaac, so when was Sir Isaac Newton born? He was born on 25th December. That's the Christmas Day. And where was he born? He was born in Woolsthorpe in England. Isaac was left in the care of his grandmother from the time he was a small boy. So Sir Isaac was left in care of his grandmother. And she was very kind to him and sent him to school. So usually we all know that our grandmothers are one who looks after us when our parents are out at work. Yeah, and all of us like to share more things to our grandparents more than our parents. Yes, we talk or we communicate more to our grandparents at times. Yes, because why? They pamper us. Yeah, they like tell us, you're so sweet, okay, don't be naughty. Not like your mummy who is very harsh at times. Yes. So, even when he was very young, Isaac was very skilled in mechanics. Mechanics means the study and construction of machines. Okay, so even as a small boy, now all boys have the habit or like to, like to make toys. At times when you get a new car, okay, your daddy has bought you a new car, and what you like is you like to repair it again, right? You like to remove all the wheels and remove the engine, and then you try to replace again. Yes, the same way even Sir Isaac Newton had a keen interest. He showed a lot of interest in mechanics. He had a set of little tools and saws of various sizes that he had fashioned by himself. He had fashioned by himself means he had made with his own hands, so which he made by himself. With the help of these, Isaac tried to make many curious objects. Curious means strange or unusual objects, very strange or different types of objects. The neighbors looked at the wondrous things which Isaac manufactured with great admiration. And his old grandmother was never weary of talking about her grandson. Now, weary means tired. Okay, so all the neighbors who were around Sir Isaac Newton's house looked at him very curiously. They were having a lot of attention. They wondered how this small young boy at this age itself was able to do such wonderful things. The neighbors looked at the wondrous things which Isaac manufactured with great admiration. With great admiration means by admiring its beauty, by looking at its beauty, they made all those things. And his old grandmother was never tired of talking about her grandson, that's Sir Isaac Newton. He'll make a capital workman one of these days, she would say. no fear, but what Isaac will do well in the world. So what Isaac will do better in this world, nobody knew. Everybody used to say that, yes, he's definitely going to make a good worksman. It's, it is amusing to imagine what anticipations means expectations, what expectations the neighbors used to have about him. What anticipations Isaac's grandmother and others formed about the things he might make in later life. Some of them perhaps thought he would make a beautiful furniture and sell it to rich people. Others thought that young Isaac would become an architect. Who is an architect? A person who designs buildings. Yes? So others thought that he will become an architect, would become an architect and would build splendid mansions and churches too, with the tallest that steeples that had ever been seen in England. Now steeples, the meaning is pointed towers rising above the churches. This is what a steeples mean. Okay, so this is what is the meaning of steeples. Yeah. Some of her friends, no doubt, advised Isaac's grandmother to send him for training to a clockmaker because, besides his mechanical skill, the boy seemed to have a taste for mathematics, which would be very useful to him in clockmaking. So, some of Isaac's grandmother's friends advised her to do what? They advised her that he should be sent to a clockmaker. And then because Sir Isaac Newton showed a lot of interest in maths, in the subject called mathematics. Indeed, there was every reason to believe that Isaac would become a clock manufacturer. He had made a kind of clock that nobody had ever heard of before. It was set to work not by wheels and weights like other clocks, but by dropping of water. This was an object of great wonder to all the people in Woolsthorpe. So, what was the clock which he had made? The clock which he had made is, it was never made in Woolsthorpe before in that place. They had every reason to believe that Isaac would become a clock manufacturer. They really felt that he is really going to make a good clock manufacturer. Why? Because he had made a kind of clock. See, what kind of clock did he make? He had made a kind of clock that nobody had ever seen before. That means for the first time he had made that kind of a clock. It was, see, the working of that new clock which he had made. It was set to work not by wheels and weights like the other clocks, but by the dropping of water. So, when the water used to drop, it used to work. This was an object of great wonder to all the people in Woolsthorpe. So, when he was young, at the time when he was young itself, he started making new things, and at that time itself, the neighbors were feeling wondrous. They were wondering as to what this young boy at this young age is able to do such wonderful things. Besides the water clock, Isaac made a sundial. Now his grandmother was never at a loss. Never at a loss means was never puzzled or fixed to know the time. The water clock would tell the time in the shade and the sundial in sunshine. So what his grandmother used to use when it was shade, it was water clock, and when there was sun, when there was sun, she used to look at the sundial. So both these things her grandson Isaac Newton had made. Isaac had a wonderful ability to acquire knowledge by the simplest means. For instance, what method do you think he used to find out the strength of the wind? You will never guess how the boy would make the unseen, inconstant and ungovernable wonder. Unseen, inconstant and ungovernable wonder is the sentences which Isaac Newton is telling about the wind. He is referring to the wind there. Unseen means the thing which you cannot see. Inconstant means it is frequently changing. It's not in the same motion or in the same direction. It keeps on changing. And ungovernable wonder, you cannot hold the wind, you cannot stop the wind. Okay, so that is which you cannot, which you don't have a control of. Okay. Tell him the measure of its strength. Yet nothing can be simpler. He jumped against the wind. So what he used to do? He used to jump up. He used to jump up against the wind, and then he jumped against the wind, and by the length of his jump, he would calculate the force of a gentle breeze, a brisk gale. See, a brisk gale means a very strong wind. Brisk gale means a very strong wind, or a tempest. What's a tempest? Tempest is a wild windy storm. A very harsh windy storm is called as a tempest. Thus, even in his boyish sports, Isaac was continually searching out the secrets of nature. Not far from his grandmother's residence was a windmill which operated on a new plan, worked according to a new technology. Operated on a new plan means worked according to the new technology. Isaac was in the habit of going there frequently and spending hours examining its various parts. While the mill was at rest, he examined its internal machinery. So he went to a windmill, he looked in and he watched out for its internal machinery also. When its broad sails were set in motion by the wind, he watched the presses by which the millstones were made to revolve and crush the grain, and thus was put into a hopper. Hopper is a V-shaped thing. It's a V-shaped thing which is found above the mill. So that's called as a hopper. His sharp mind grasped every detail as he watched it. So his sharp mind, the way he used to look into each and every small minute details, grasped everything. After gaining a thorough knowledge of its construction, Isaac built a model of the windmill. It wasn't very large, yet every part of the mill and its machinery was complete. So after looking into the real windmill, he built a small part of it. He built a small one of it, and then he understood that every part of it was complete. It was perfect. Its little sails were neatly made of linen and whirled around very swiftly when there was a wind. Even a puff of wind from Isaac's mouth was enough to set the sails in motion. And what was more fascinating, if a handful of grey wheat was put into the little hopper, it would soon be converted into snow white flour. So everything was perfect. Even a small wind, if it touched the windmill, his small windmill, the windmill will start working. And if you put one handful of grain, just one bunch of grain into that, into this hopper here, if you put it into it, that would be turned into snow white flour. Snow white flour means very nice powder. Isaac's playmates were enchanted with his new windmill. Enchanted means filled with delight, filled with surprise. Isaac's playmates were enchanted with his new windmill. They thought that nothing so pretty and wonderful had ever been seen in the whole world. They thought that better than this, there's nothing else to be seen in this whole world. The best thing that Sir Isaac Newton had made was a thing like this, a thing like windmill. So his friends even felt very happy. His friends felt very nice that his friend that Sir Isaac Newton had made. So you can see there's a picture of Sir Isaac Newton in that page number 115. As Isaac grew older, it was found that he had far more important matters on his mind. So as he started growing old, he understood that it's just not these small things which I need to concentrate on. There are many new things which are still to be found out. Then the manufacture of toys like the lentil windmill. All day long, if left to himself, he was either absorbed in thought or engaged in some book of mathematics or natural philosophy. So, if he was free, if he had no work, what he used to do is he was either engaged in a book of mathematics or in a book of philosophy, an old name for science. Okay, philosophy is an old name for science, not the philosophy which you are referring to now. At night, he looked up with great curiosity at the stars and wondered whether they were worlds like our own, how great the distance was from the earth, and what power kept them in their courses. So he's thinking that there were so many stars far behind us, and what is the distance from earth to those stars, and what is the force that is keeping them far away? Why are they not coming near and hitting us? Isaac's curiosity led to many discoveries. He was the first to find out the nature of light. So, he found out the nature of light, how they travel. Until then, nobody had been able to tell what sunshine was composed of. So, he found out what sunlight was composed of. Then there was the famous incident of an apple falling from a tree on his head, which prompted him to discover the force of gravitation. So that's how we understood that Earth has a gravitational power. Earth has a power to attract things. So that is how force of gravitation was discovered. Once he got hold of this idea, he did not rest until he had searched out all the laws by which the planets are guided through the sky. So he got this idea of the gravitational force. When he got the idea of the gravitational force, then he started discovering as to how the planets keep on revolving, how planets are kept on revolving in its own satellites. Okay, so this is what he tried to discover. This he did as thoroughly as if he had gone up among the stars and tracked them in their orbits. As a boy, Isaac had discovered the mechanism of a windmill. As a man, he explained to his fellow human beings the complex mechanism of the universe. So as a boy, he understood that how to build a windmill as a small boy. And later as a man, when he grew up, he gave the laws of nature. He had done it so perfectly that we go through his laws, we would feel like he has gone there right up to the planets. He has sat there and then he has tracked their orbits. Isaac lived to be a very old man and acquired great fame. He was made the member of parliament and received the honor of knighthood. So what all he was made? He was made the member of the parliament and also he received the honor of knighthood. But he cared little for these and felt no pride in vastness of his knowledge. All that he had learned only made him feel how little he knew in comparison to what remained to be unknown. So he felt only little he knew and there are a lot more things which are still to be discovered. The famous saying, the last paragraph is the famous saying of Sir Isaac Newton. It said that I seemed to myself like a child, he would often say, playing on the seashore and picking up here and there a curious shell or a pretty pebble, while the boundless ocean of truth lies undiscovered before me. So he's telling, there's only a little things which I have come to know. Though he was a great scientist, he used to say this, only little things about the universe I have come to know. Rest all, there is a lot of things which remains undiscovered before me. So what I have known, more than that, there's an ocean full of things, truths lying, which are still to be discovered and still to be found out. So with this, we come to understand that Sir Isaac Newton, so though he was a great scientist, he was very humble, he was a simple human being, he was a very down-to-earth person. So thank you so much children for your patient listening. Bye bye. Have a nice day.